I'm glad you're along. It's time to talk to Texe Mars. We get to do that once a month on Monday. And it is Texas Night. It's the third Monday of each month. If you want to look up the regulars we have, I think you'll find some extraordinary people. My whole philosophy in this program has been to assemble a group of people that are like regular family here. And through them, we get to listen to and analyze how they see the world and how they perceive some of the momentous events that we're being deluged with all the time. I think once we get to know our regulars, and they're all unique and they're all special, and none more so than Texe Mars, we get to have a number of different bedrock platforms. Each and every one of them is a bedrock platform upon which to hear and try to understand a little bit better what's going on around us. Rather than just deluge you with 60 different people a month, I would rather keep the program as it is, working in new guests and our wonderful group of regulars. Just in case you're new to the program, I thought I'd just mention that to you. So we get to go now to one of the most remarkable, prescient, honest, brilliant researchers that I have ever had the pleasure of knowing. He is Texe Mars, and if you want to see something spectacular, go to his website and just look at his catalog. Texe, T-E-X-E, if you're new to the program, Mars, with 2 R's, .com, TexeMars.com. He has a catalog of achievements and publications, DVDs, books, you name it, that is second to none. It's an extraordinary amount of information. Just stunning. Okay, Texe, I got tired doing that. How are you?
Well, thank you, Jeff. It's very, very kind of you, really, to say those things. And whether they're true or not, I'm going to go ahead and accept it.
They're all true. You're stuck with them.
I have my critics out there, so when I have a good friend that says something nice, well, I'm going to hold on to that and keep it. But thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
I appreciate you and what you do. I really do.
Thank you, Texe. The destabilization of these formerly United States is a rather kind way to state what's going on here. We are being raped, pillaged, ravaged, assaulted from every possible direction, betrayed, cheated upon, and literally denied our birthright, and that is to live in a country that has a constitution, a set of moral foundations that we can all relate to throughout our lives. We are now in the hands of abject evil, Marxist evil, if you will. Of course, you can hang a lot of different labels on it. But we're in real trouble here, and I don't see an easy way out. Individually, it's all up to you folks out there to build your own, in a way, your own earth, your own world, and live in it and do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's the golden rule, and they can't take that away from us. They can do darn near everything else. So let's have a look at the destabilization of our country, Texe.
Well, you know, Jeff, last month I talked about the destabilization of the Middle East.
Yeah.
And I discussed, what you and I both did, how the United States has assisted Israel, and one by one the nations of the Middle East have been destroyed, but basically they've been destabilized. Now, you don't need to totally conquer a nation, invade it with your armed forces and take over every little city and town.
Right.
You know, you use a lot of people. You waste billions of dollars of military instruments in doing so. But you go in first and you destroy it, and then you just allow it to exist. For example, Libya exists. The people are so impoverished over what they were in the days of Gaddafi. Same thing is true in every case, whether in Iraq. Now Iraq is a much poverty-stricken nation.
The third world country.
That's right. We haven't even brought up their hospitals, their highways, their electrical systems.
No.
Everything is inferior. They're being destabilized, and every day, of course, dozens of people are murdered by bomb attacks by one faction or another. So the way we have won the Middle East for Israel is by attacking these countries, Lebanon, Yemen, Afghanistan, and so on and on. And now we're doing the same thing in Syria. We want to do it in Iran, and of course in the Ukraine and Pakistan. And all these countries, we're destabilizing them. And in this way, we're allowing Israel to accomplish the setup of greater Israel. Now, in the United States, the same process, I've studied, and I know you have, Weimar Germany, the Germany before Hitler, and Tsarist Russia.
Yeah.
The Russia that existed before the coming of the communists, Lenin, Trotsky, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the same process employed in Germany and Russia seems to be underway in the United States. Now, they bit off a big, a thing to chew here, because the United States has long been a stable country, but now our country is going under, and it's plain when you see the news every day. You see evidence that this destabilization process is going on, and it is absolutely incredible. And maybe we can talk about some of these aspects, but I'd also like to discuss, if we could, what makes a country a country. In other words, what unites, what is the glue that keeps a nation indivisible, integrated as a whole?
Mm-hmm.
What made us a great nation, indivisible, independent, seemingly, every man was willing to fight for this country, and we have the same things. What are those things that unite a country, and why has every one of them been weakened? Who did this horrible deed to the United States? Is it the acceleration of progress? Is it technological achievements? Has this done it? Has it been television, the internet, or has there been a invisible, hidden hand?
Mm-hmm.
Or are there groups out there that hate America, hate any country that can be so independent and so strong, and like parasites, like vermin, like insects have borne in and destroyed the very core of this nation? These are the kind of things I would really like us to look at today.
Well, what we do, I think, what the cabal running this country does is parasitize other nations. Now, it keeps them alive, such as the case of Iraq you mentioned, and Libya. They're not quite on life support, but they're very close. In the meantime, we continue to parasitize and bleed them. We're taking Iraq's oil, we're taking other natural resources from Libya. It's what we do. If we become a stupid parasite, we kill off our golden goose, but we don't. We keep them all alive, chained, and really locked into our own set of dungeons that we have, and then we milk them. That's what we do. And we get direction from whom? Our Zionist masters. This is all being done basically at the behest of the international banking cartel, the Rothschild banksters, and their privately owned private nation, Israel. And we have a story on Rense today. A congressman challenged AIPAC and ended up in prison for it. James Traficant, who lost his career and his name because he took on AIPAC. And AIPAC doesn't mess around. He's interviewed by Luke Rutkowski. We Are Change. It's on Rense, and it's a very good interview, and I would urge all of you to listen to it. It's about here's a couple minutes of it. May I, Texe? Because
sure.
This man really paid the price and is a very, very smart and well-informed man. Former Congressman James Traficant. Here's just the end of the interview.
Everybody talks about the industrious, the patriotism of industry. Hey, they left because they can't make it here. Their competition is overseas without the regulatory burden and the cost burdens faced here, and they're getting their ass cleaned. So they've moved overseas to keep their business and industry afloat. And unless we change our policies and move towards a system where everybody pulls the load, it will collapse. And that is, I think, the big thing that must be done. It's one of the things I'll be talking about here today, the bill that I sponsored. I believe if I wasn't separated from Congress, I would have eventually passed that.
And then also at the same time, if we get rid of the taxes, we stop feeding the beast. The military-industrial complex, the medical one, the war on drugs, all those things would not happen.
You'll see all of it start to, the marketplace will start to straighten much of that out. And I think that's where we have to go. And you take the regulatory burden off, you'll be creating jobs the old-fashioned way, not government jobs. You know, everybody really hasn't looked at all these things that are happening, like Obamacare. Nobody's really labeled it. Obamacare is a jobs bill. You realize how many new jobs are created through that? Making it look like America's economy is growing. They create 169 new bureaucracies and agencies with all kind of positions and jobs. Just that one thing. So they're creating government jobs. Like that one year, they had the big explosion of jobs. It showed a great revival in America. It turned out that 400,000 of those jobs were part-time census workers. The government was paying. I mean, when it came to light, they were all embarrassed by it. Look, you got to go the old-fashioned way. Government can't be hiring people. Government got to get the hell out of the way. We don't need a Department of Energy, a Department of Education. We don't need an EPA. Congress has set standards. The states could operate within those standards and set up their programs. This is the United States of America, not the central government of America.
Let's not also forget that with Obamacare, the IRS has been increased more than ever throughout history than before.
Well,
even
my bill would
World War II.
eliminate the IRS, and even though I don't believe it was ever legally ratified, it would repeal finally and put the nails in the coffin in the 16th Amendment. And it's time we do that. Sons of bitches.
Very well said.
On the air.
Definitely will. Now, I want to know what's next for you, Mr. Traficant, because I
don't know.
Even when you were in jail, you were running for Congress,
I gotta be careful. I got to be careful. It's like a lot of friends say, they've already destroyed you, they've taken away your name. Be careful you don't get too much in the public eye again, because they'll kill you.
And they will. And they have. They don't mess around. Thanks for that indulgence. I thought he's a very interesting man.
You know, he is, and it's just very strange that he would be on. In fact, Congressman Jim Traficant called me just 3 days ago.
Oh.
We had a very pleasant conversation, and he told me he was going to start a new group, a patriotic group, and I asked him to send me all the material on it. And I congratulated him. I told him that, since the days of Demjanjuk, the
retired auto worker, wasn't he?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Here was a guy in his 80s,
mm-hmm.
And he was accused by the Jews unjustly in our Justice Department of being the butcher of Auschwitz. They said he was a prison camp guard in Auschwitz, and it turned out that he was never even in Auschwitz. It was all made up.
That's right.
He was sent to Israel, and if it had not been for Jim Traficant rescuing him by going to the Soviet Union, getting all the facts on the case, and it turned out that it was the wrong man. They had a misidentity.
Yep.
And even the Israeli court and the prosecutor admitted that they had made a mistake, and they let the guy go. And this was of course, Traficant's great sin, that he freed an innocent man, and you can't do that. They wanted Demjanjuk, they wanted him to be a victim, even though he was innocent.
Correct.
And this is what they were after.
Yep.
They're so the Holocaust is such a sacrosanct event to the Jews, a very solitary event. It's like a religion.
It is a religion. It's an economic religion, as it were. They have made God only knows how much money on that.
Absolutely.